Hello friends, welcome back to Garden Obsessed. My name is Carla. Today we are dealing with the Greenstalk. So the first thing that I need to do before we can get it planted up is I need to kind of refresh the soil that I had in it last year. So these towers grow pretty intensively, and I think it's a good idea just to add a little bit of fresh soil back into them every year, just so they can stay productive for you. So the first thing you'll see me do here is I'm just picking out any large stalks or chunks of roots that are still present. It's easy to do this in a wheelbarrow if you have it, or you could also do it in like a big Rubbermaid tote or something like that. And I'm going to be adding a little bit more of fresh Pro Mix. This was just a cheap one that I bought. This isn't my favorite Pro Mix, but it'll do the job. It'll have some fresh nutrients in with the soil, and then I will go ahead and add some more fertilizer just to make sure that there's enough in the soil for the plants that we're going to be planting. I wanted to do something a little bit different this year. Last year was my first year with the Greenstalk, and I planted some petunias, some beans. I had peppers and microdwarf tomatoes. They all grew really well, but I wanted to try something a little different. Some of those things are still going to be planted this year, but I haven't seen very many people plant things like potatoes in them. And we don't grow a whole lot of potatoes, but we do really like fingerling potatoes. They're kind of a hard thing to find around here to buy if you're not growing them yourself. And so it's really the only potatoes we grow any number of every year. I thought they might do well in the Greenstalk. So I did do some searching, and I did find a couple of people have grown potatoes, not specifically fingerlings that I could find, although we're going to try a few different types of potatoes. And of the few sources that I could find, I saw kind of varying degrees of success. One of the mistakes that I think people are making when they're trying to grow potatoes in their Greenstalk is I think they're putting too many plants in these tiers. Potatoes need a lot of space under the ground to spread out and actually make their potatoes. So I think 1 or 2 per tier will work well, and that's what I'm going to go with this year. Another thing that I'll mention when you're growing in a Greenstalk is you really want to make sure that your soil is filled to the very top. That's how the system works. The watering system is a disc that sets kind of on top of the soil, and you really need to have it full in order for it to function its very best. I did find this was a super easy system to grow in. If you have limited space, I cannot recommend these highly enough. It takes up about 2 square feet, and that's a lot of vertical growing space that they give you. Now, I will say, if you're in Canada, there are very few places that carry them, and they are a lot pricier here than they are in the US. Easily 2 to 3 times the price what you're going to be paying if you're in the US. So if you are in the US, take advantage of those sales and definitely get yourself a Greenstalk. And if you're in Canada, they are pricier, but I bought myself one last year as a birthday present, and just know that I feel that it was worth it. Okay, so we're all filled up, and I've just added an all-purpose fertilizer. I'm a little less picky with what I use in my containers. I'm not so worried about soil health and things like that, so this is all I'm using. It's pretty cheap, and it'll do the job, and this will also get like liquid fertilizer throughout the season too. So I haven't 100% decided where and how much of anything, but I'll show you what my options are. So I've got some strawberries. These are those alpine strawberries, so they're kind of like a wild strawberry. They're small and sweet. I've got some lettuce starts. I have some alyssum, and this is all stuff that I've started from seed. I have some petunias. I have one microdwarf tomato. I have a pepper. I have several potatoes. So these are the fingerling potatoes that I've grown the last couple years. I did just pick this up to throw a couple in and try them. They're kind of like a Yukon Gold. I think they're only like 4 or 5 years old. This potato was like a new development. And then these are the ones I started from seed. Clancy, I think is what they're called. So we're gonna just start playing. Okay, so we're just gonna go layer by layer here. And I definitely want to start, oh, I forgot to tell you, I also have some yellow beans, some yellow wax beans, so probably those are going to go in a few pockets too. But I really want to try growing potatoes in the Greenstalk. I've seen other people do it, a few people on YouTube do it, and to varying degrees of success. I've seen people put them, for the most part, in every pocket. I think that's probably too many. They'll need space to grow, so I don't think I want any more than 2 per tier. So I'm going to start with the fingerlings. I'm going to put my gloves on just so I don't get dirt underneath my fingernails. I already have like the gardener's manicure, but you know, we'll try to prevent it as much as possible. So I'm gonna plant these pretty deep. And I'm a little worried. I'm sure they will find their way out, because this will be, you know, covered with our watering system. So there's 2 potatoes. Now the next thing I'm going to do, before I forget which pockets they're in, is put tags in. And I also want to remember which type is where, so this will help with that. There we go, there's our 2 tags. Alright. Next, I think we're just going to start shoving plants. So I think I'll put 1 strawberry per tier. I can get my glove on here. Loosen up the roots a little. Get him in here. Try to keep my holes clear here too. Now, I definitely want some flowers, so let's do an alyssum here. And opposite the alyssum, I'm going to put 2 petunias. And these would benefit from trimming, so they'll bush out. They've been in these teeny tiny cells for way too long. So we have one cell here left to plant. And I think I'm gonna put beans in this. So I'm gonna do 5. I think that's what I did last year and it worked. And we'll get a label in there too. So I don't think there's nothing there. All right, we have 1 tier done. So I'm gonna put my little watering tray here. And remember to line up the holes. So there's little holes in the bottom here and you want that kind of facing your pocket. And then we'll go get another tier and keep going. Okay, on to the next tier. So I have a potato here. I kind of want to try to offset them. So these 2 are going to be potatoes. And this time I'm going to use the Canada Gold. There's 1. There's 2. Same thing, we're going to go fairly deep. Put our sprouts facing up. And before I forget, we'll get tags. Okay, now I have a strawberry here on the lower tier, so I'm going to put a strawberry here. And we have yellow wax beans here, so I'm going to put the beans here. Now, our alyssum is here, so I think I'll put the alyssum right here. Again, I'll go with petunias here. Actually, instead of petunias, I might put a lettuce here. A couple. We'll do a couple. There, another level done. So I'm just gonna keep adding layers and keep potting them up. Okay, now I'm planting a couple of these Clancy potatoes in this tier, and check this out. Those are adorable. Very cool. Here's the finished tower. On the top tier, I added a micro dwarf tomato. And I'll definitely keep you guys updated.